All right, welcome back to the Live 100 podcast. I'm Jason Yarusi. Today we're going to talk about guessing games. We all like to play games, right? And I want you to imagine the rules of this game. So if I put a jar in front of you, and within that jar is a bunch of different stones and pebbles, right? And this jar, say it's about the size of just 2 milk gallons, right? Milk jugs. And in that is all different size rocks and all different size stones and pebbles. And I asked you, make a guess. Hey, how many do you think is in here, right? We might get all different guesses. You might say a couple hundred. Someone might say 1,000. Another person might say 1,800, 975, or 68. And to all that, we come to a conclusion. And if you ask me, well, what's the correct answer? And if I responded, well, I have no idea, right? Well, that game would be a bit disappointing because you've put in the effort to hopefully have a result of who got the closest and who got the furthest and who was the one who was actually right. However, if we transitioned this question into thinking of this as your mind, and within your mind, or each of those pebbles is the opportunity of a choice, and you use that choice, and then that choice is gone. But if I ask you the question, how many chances do you have to make a choice going forward into the rest of your life? And the true response is you have no idea. You don't know how much time you have left. You don't know how many moments you have left. You don't know how many opportunities you will get to make the choice to go after exactly what you want in this life. Yet you treat each choice that matters like a hobby, right? We put it off, we kick it down the road. We don't want to start today because tomorrow will be brighter, right? We don't want to put in the work now because it might be hard today, but hopefully tomorrow it will look a little better, it'll look a little easier. And we keep doing this and doing this and doing this until eventually one day there's going to be no stones or pebbles left in that jar because your time has come. And I like to think about this as like the heartbeat mentality, right? We all think just like stocks, right? That everything goes up and to the right, right? And we have this heartbeat that happens and happens over time. We think of it as on this upward curve, always to the right, to the moment that it stops. And if you look at your life, are you truly treating your life right now as a hobby? Are you truly thinking, well, you know what? Tomorrow looks good. I guess I'll just get to it then next week, potentially, or, once I get through this busy season or once I don't have, so many things going on, right? I love this meme that is, parents saying, well, at least next week it would just, everything will settle down, right? But if you have kids, right, it's never the case. The next season brings new opportunities, new things, new focus, new things in school, new things in work, new things here of them with their activities, right? And then things keep carrying on. But when you make the choice, when you truly set the line in the sand that I am doing this now, you have the opportunity to take back what potentially could be lost. I've made, priorities about attending and being present in my kids' school events. Next week I'm going on an overnight field trip. I go to their sports activities. I coach a number of their sports. I meet them after school. I take them to school, right? It's been something that I said, that's my line in the sands. But what it's now made is a priority that in the time that I'm not doing that, where I'm focused, where I'm committed, where I'm there with them, I'm having to make sure that I get the important things done. And in life, we have so many times to just push off the important because the important is stressful. It takes energy. It takes mental capacity. It takes us having to be there and it might not go right, right? So we don't want to put it today because it could hurt. It could sting, right? So we push it off and then we push it off and then we push it off. And you know how it is, the more you push something off, right? The easier it is not to get back to it, right? Because it seemingly must not be that important because you haven't put the time and the energy, but it could be as important as everything. Everything could be that important if you truly look at the impact it has in your life. We don't think about the ripple effect of not doing, right? Because it's hard to take in what not doing has on the future life, right? It has on our future part. And if you say, well, if I take the divide in the road and I go left or I go right, what's going to be the right choice? We can only look at really in reverse how things have played out. But you have to ask yourself, if you take no road, are you going to be happy with that outcome? Are you going to be happy with the idea of what's happened in your life? Are you going to be happy with the choice you made? Because within that jar of stones, of pebbles, of rocks, There is the choice of no choice. That is his own choice. And a lot of you are just making the choice not to choose, right? Because choosing is hard, because it puts you up there. It puts you on stage saying, I've made this choice. This is what I'm going to do. And it might not work. But is it better to go and try and know than to never try and wonder? And when you finish out with this world, right, before you take this step out of this self, do you want to have given it your all? Or do you want to have saying, you know what? I wonder what could have been my life. You talk to people and you hear stories of people going to elderly homes and talking to people that have very limited time left. And it's never about, like all the money you made, the time that they worked. It's always about what has yet to be done and will never been able to get to do. So let's not live a life where we have regret. Let's live a life of purpose. Let's live a life of progress. Let's live a life of momentum and moving forward. All right, that's what I have for you today. I'm Jason Yarusi. This is the Live 100 podcast. If you can do something for us, if you've been finding value in this podcast, if you could just take 30 seconds and go down there and just leave us a 5-star review. We read them all, and just honestly, just give us an honest review. If you think we could do better, give us that review. Whatever it is, we appreciate everything that's helped to grow this podcast. Let's do this.